welcome to another edition of Lab Rats. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And today on the show, we're going to look at the brand new operating system on the iPhone. Of course, it came out very, very recently. And you know what? Wow, what a big difference compared to the previous operating system, Sean.
Yes, in a lot of ways, it is a revolution, as they say.
Yeah, some real key features. And what's great about it, of course, is it brings a lot of the functionality of the iPhone 4, which is, of course, just about to come out, to your older hardware.
Yes.
So you can get a lot of those new features without spending another penny. So today we're going to cover those off. We're going to see, what key features have been added, maybe what they missed along the way, and a bunch of stuff like that. So
Yes.
that's iOS 4, the new name of the iPhone operating system, today on Lab Rats. Well, before we get started, I want to talk to you a little bit about a brand new contest available through howdoyou.com, run by a company called VeriSign. They are the keepers of the .com domains. They are the registrar. And they're running a contest, the 25th anniversary of the .com, to help you win one of 10 iPads or up to $10,000 in cash. So if you want to win one of those fantastic prizes, all you've got to do is tell your .com story. How did the .com change your life? In my case, a funny little story about .com. Years ago, I lived in Berkeley, California, and was doing a magazine startup, and needed a new mattress. And so I went to mattress.com, bought myself a mattress like sight unseen. It was the very early days of sort of transactions of that nature on the web. Got this fantastic mattress, and I still have it today. It's one of the most comfortable things I've ever bought in my entire life. So thanks to .com, I've been sleeping soundly for over 7 or 8 years now.
Very good.
Pretty impressive, huh? Anyway, I'm sure your .com story is way better than mine. So zip on over to howdoyou.com, tell your .com story. How has it changed your life? And you could win money or iPads. So check it out, howdoyou.com. All right.
I'm going right now.
So iOS 4. So Apple's changed the name of the operating system from the iPhone operating system.
Yeah, it was the iPhone before, and it's iOS now.
The iOS now. So iOS 4. And I guess it's the best way for you to get sort of all the new gunctionality that's going to be appearing on the iPhone 4, which is has just come out in the US and it will be out worldwide shortly, without having to make an investment of new hardware.
Right.
So,
it's actually available on the iPod Touch as well. So
two
of the generations of that. Again, with less functionality than the iPhone, obviously, because the iPod Touch doesn't do some of the things that the iPhone does hardware-wise. So.
Right. So how do you get? First of all, how do you get it?
First of all, you get it essentially by plugging it into your phone into iTunes, like you normally do when you're syncing, and checking for update, and downloading it that way. It'll automatically download it and refresh your operating system. Right. A good idea to back up first, in case you haven't done that. I think it should automatically sync your phone and back it up to do that. But then you refresh it. iPhone 4 goes on there. It's a free download for everybody, and there you go. So you can do that with your iPod Touch, and you can do that with your iPhone 3G, 3GS, and if you have the iPhone 4, you don't need to because it's already there.
I guess the biggest feature, multitasking. People have been talking about. So let's talk about what multitasking is on the phone and what benefits it brings.
Okay, well, first of all, we should talk about what multitasking is in general, and then talk about what it is on iOS 4.
Sure.
So multitasking in general is something that a lot of people are used to from their computers. It is a way of running multiple programs all at the same time. So if you have your Skype up, you can also have your Instant Messenger in the background and a word processing document and all of those other programs, and they're all running together. And when you switch from one to the others keep running in the background. So you're typing in your word processing document, and say Matt, our producer, wants to get a hold of you on your Instant Messenger. Ping, it comes up in the background. You don't have to wait to go back to that to find out what messages are waiting.
Right. And it won't kind of exit out of a program, crash it, or just shut it down.
Right.
And then to actually get to something else.
Right. So everything is running. They just go into the background. They sort of run silently while you're not looking at them.
Now I guess the iPhones had that before, like the Apple native applications that come pre-installed have some semblance of multitasking.
Right.
The iPod, you can play your music while you're doing other things.
Right.
You can take phone calls that will pause something. And you can do, so it had a little bit of that, but now it's with all the third-party applications, all the apps now, right?
Right. Well, kind of. Okay. So there's there's always been a hardware way to do this, and now they've built it into the operating system. Now, the big problem with multitasking on the iPhone is anybody with an Android phone or a BlackBerry that does multitasking can attest to is if you forget an app that's running in the background that's using a lot of power, it'll suck back your battery life.
Oh, yeah.
It'll just basically, you would go down from like having your phone available for a day to like now it's working for a few hours before you have to plug it in again.
Yeah.
Like just imagine leaving your GPS running in the background and then going off for like a couple hours. It's just going to suck the power right out of your phone.
Right.
And Apple has said no multitasking up until this point because of that. They didn't want that to happen to people's phones. It's a bad user experience, and Apple is all about the user experience. A lot of people get frustrated by the fact that they say you can't do this, but they're probably really happy that of the benefits of not being able to do that in other ways. So now they've integrated a new version of multitasking, or their own limited multitasking, that allows it under certain circumstances, and it has to be implemented in the code. So if you write an application, it has to conform to these certain standards and hooks, I guess, basically into the operating system that Apple has put in there. So if you haven't done that, your applications will multitask in a very limited way. They'll go into the background and then fire back up when you select them. But they won't necessarily function properly. So in a lot of cases, say you're playing in the middle of a game and you say, in the middle of a screen, you say, okay, I want to take a phone call, and you click on the button, go into that, take your phone call, you go back while your level may have refreshed or the game may have reset.
Oh, I see, right. So you're about to win the level and phone call comes in and now you got to start again.
Yeah.
On that level.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that it allows you to go back into the game. It still stays there in memory, but it doesn't necessarily keep all the information and all that. So
I see.
it has to conform to Apple's standards. Now it's for things like streaming media, for voice over IP, they have these ways to do that are built into the kit when you're programming. So old apps won't multitask. Apps that have been refreshed to conform to these standards may multitask.
So there's going to be a lot of apps that are going to be like updated in the next little while
Right.
as the developers start to build in multitasking to make it available for the iPhone 4 and iOS 4.
Right. For example, Skype, which
Yeah.
you'd think would be the greatest multitasking app in the whole world,
Yeah.
because you can take a call while going off and doing something else on your iPhone. Currently, as we're taping this, it doesn't multitask, but they are working on it, so it'll happen any day now.
Okay, good.
But they have to rewrite it to do that.
Good. All right, let's move on to folders. That's something that hasn't existed before on the iPhone. So you can now put your apps gather them together in a folder, correct?
Right. So in the past, you probably remember there were just your apps were all over the screen, just like a whole pile of individual apps. So
Screens and screens and screens and screens. Yeah.
So if it was on the 10th screen, you just have to flip all the way to the 10th screen.
Yeah.
So now they have the ability to group these things into natural folders, as they say. So if I have a folder that's games, I can put all my games in there. And it's as simple, basically, as when you wanted to move your apps around in the past, you would hold down on the application
Yeah.
until it started shaking.
You'll start jiggling, yeah.
And then you would move it from screen to screen.
Right.
Now you would hold it down, drag one app onto the other app.
Yeah.
So you want these two apps in a folder, and this is how you create your folder. You drag one app onto another app, and it
Right.
creates a folder.
With the two inside it.
With the two
Yeah.
inside it, you type the name that you want to give to the folder, and then there it is. And you can do that. Now that you've got the folder created, you can drag other apps into it. You can drag apps out of it.
Right. What I like about that too is it automatically names it based on like the category that the app is in, right? So if it's a productivity app, it'll say, oh, the title should be productivity, and you can change it, of course.
Yes.
This is very
Yeah,
cool.
so it'll automatically guess at that. Now, by having all of these folders on your desktop as opposed to individual apps now, you can get over 2,000 applications on the phone before.
Oh, wow.
Because you still have a limited number of screens, like home screens that you can switch between, but now you can folderize everything and put all your apps into
Interesting
folders.
enough, though, that's only about 1% of the available apps out. There's about 200,000 apps now available for the iPhone.
Yeah, although you probably wouldn't want every single app on there. It would
Probably
cost
not.
you $1 zillion.
That's true.
So,
Email. Email's been changed relatively drastically, I'd say, with a couple of key features and a couple of minor features as well. Let's talk about that.
right. So, in the past, when you had your email program up,
Yeah.
you may or may not know that you can have multiple accounts on there. So, for you and me, we've got work accounts, we've got home accounts, we maybe got like an account for our website, like andywalker.com or SeanCarruthers.com. So, we've got multiple email addresses that we want to monitor at all times. But in the past, that meant, okay, click on one inbox, check it all out, go back out,
Yeah.
go back into the next one, check it all out,
yes.
go back out,
Yes.
which is a huge pain
Kind of
in the
cumbersome,
butt.
especially if you have multiple email addresses. It's a pain.
Right. And so for a lot of people, all they care about is, do I have new mail? Not, do I have to check every single inbox I have to find out if I've got new mail and what it is.
Right.
So what they have now is something called the integrated inbox. So when you go to select which inbox you want to go into, so into the butterscotch.com or into the andywalker.com, now they've got one that says all inboxes. So you can click on that, and it'll show you absolutely everything integrated together as it comes in.
Right. And then inside that, the conversations that relate to each email. So it's nested emails as well. So if you respond to me and I respond to you, it's all under one area.
Yeah, and then if Matt gets involved in the process as well, his will go into that. So there's a little number beside the thread, so you can see the title, Lab Rats Shoot for June. And then there'd be like 6 messages inside there. Then you can click it, it'll open it up, and then you can collapse it again and then go back out to individual mailboxes if you prefer. The other nice thing about this is now you might get an email in with one of your email addresses, but it's not your preferred email address. So for example, I worked with one company before, and now I'm working with Butterscotch. But I still get email to that old address, which is my personal home address. But I want to reply from this one. Now you can. So the email comes in on this email address. Using the integrated inbox, you can actually go in there and tap when it comes in and say reply.
Right. Reply
and then,
as?
And it doesn't say reply as, but you tap on the field that says CC and from.
Yeah.
And it'll expand. And then you can hit on from, and it'll change the, it'll give you a roller with all of the options of your email accounts, and then you can choose which one to send out from at that point.
Okay, good. A couple of miscellaneous things I guess I want to mention real quick. Photography, there's a change to digital zoom. There's a couple of the small things we should probably mention before we go to break.
Right. Now there's in the iPhone 4 hardware, there's a few other things. But if you've got the older version of the phone, which doesn't have the front-facing camera or the LED flash, not everything is available. But one thing that is available is digital zoom. So when you hold up your phone and you're focusing on something and you tap on the screen in the past, that would allow you to focus on a specific item on the screen. When you do that now, you also have a little slider bar on the bottom that allows you to zoom in or out. So you can zoom in on just like your eyebrow or something like that if you want. Now,
It's a very nice eyebrow, by the way.
it is. So the thing is with digital zoom, it's the same on this as it is with any other camera. Now, first of all, this is a 3 megapixel camera on here, so it's going to be lower res to begin with than the 5 megapixel version on the iPhone 4.
Right.
However, digital zoom always just uses a smaller subset and then blows it up using software, so it always looks worse than if you actually had an optical zoom, like a physical lens that moved in and out.
Right, got it.
So-
Okay, good. All right, well, let's take a break there. There's a couple of miscellaneous things that we do want to hit, but let's go to commercial. And when we come back, miscellaneous bits and pieces on the iOS 4 that we want to mention, and then, of course, one of our features from butterscotch.com. Well, in a minute, we'll talk about the sort of the grab bag of cool little features that are hidden inside of iOS 4. But first, let's take a look at a brand new show we've developed here at butterscotch.com called Status Update with Jay Goldman. Now, you may remember him as Mr. Mobile. Well, Jay is a social media expert, and he was doing a lot of social media stuff on Mr. Mobile. So we thought, let's evolve the show and call it Status Update. So here's episode 1.
Welcome on deck. I'm Matt Harris.
Hi, I'm Jay Goldman.
Welcome to the A-List.
Hi, welcome to Miss Download.
But for those of you who are feeling a little bit lost here, you just kind of had email down and then Facebook came along and maybe a little bit of MySpace and you're sort of trying to keep up and now there's this Twitter thing, well, today's episode is for you. Twitter is microblogging or very small format blog posts and they're limited to 140 characters long because that's how many characters fit into a text message or an SMS message on a phone. When Twitter first started out, it was much more SMS-based than it is these days. Nowadays, most people access it either through the web or through a Twitter client on their smartphone of choice. But in the early days, a lot of people interacted mostly through text messaging. And so the tweets had to be small enough that they were going to fit into an SMS, and now we're stuck with the 140-character limit.
See the whole show, you can zip on over to butterscotch.com, check out Status Update. All right, Sean, so there's some final little bits and pieces we should mention, kind of a grab bag of features on iOS 4. So what was your favorite?
Well,
what's the first one you mentioned?
There's like 80 or something like that, other features they've added, and most of which don't really matter to most people. But there's a couple that do count. Now, one of the ones that is available is wallpaper. So you have the ability now to change the wallpaper on your home screen and your lock screen.
Yes.
Beforehand, it was just sort of an all or nothing. Now you can do either one separately. So when you take something from your image library, you can now set it as your home screen, your lock screen, or both.
So you take a photograph of your kid or your wife or your, okay, good.
Yeah.
And so there's two things to play with there. Okay, that's good. Search provider is a big thing.
Yes.
So when you search, the default before was Google in Safari.
Right.
Now you can actually change that.
You can actually change it. So you have 3 choices now. You have the ability to switch it between Google as before. You can use Yahoo, or you can use Bing.
Nice.
Now people were saying, we're going to change. They're going to change everything to Bing, but no, they just added Bing. They didn't change it so that you can't use the other ones as well.
And I bet you that's a move to avoid antitrust issues, I think.
Potentially.
Probably, yeah.
And also because I think they're probably a little bit ticked off at Google with the whole world of Android. So.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
So they're just widening their options.
And then for the misspellers out there in the world, the people that are great at typos, autocorrect has arrived on the iPhone.
Yes. So now when you were typing into it before in email or into your notepad, it would automatically suggest things as you were typing. But once you selected it, that was it. You didn't have the ability to autocorrect it before. But now when you look at a document that you've typed and it's just full of typos, it'll actually have the little underline on them as well so that you can see what they think is spelled incorrectly. And when you tap on it, it'll give you suggestions. Not 100%, but it does give you options there.
Step in the right direction.
It's a step in the right direction.
Very good. Okay, anything else?
Those are the 3 main
The
ones.
key ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so picture time now, my favorite. Speaking of, I guess we don't have any other photography tips. We will when we cover the iPhone 4 in an episode coming up.
Yeah, before we get to that though, there's one thing. There's a couple things I think that they didn't put in the
that they missed.
iOS
Yeah, okay.
4
Sure.
that I sort of wish they did.
Yeah.
Now, for me, the thing that I've always wished they would fix, and I wish this right from the beginning, is Bluetooth.
What's wrong with Bluetooth?
Bluetooth works pretty much okay, but if you need to turn your Bluetooth on or off, it takes you forever to drill down through the menus.
Tap, tap, tap. So like 4 taps in to turn it on or off.
Right.
3 taps in and then on or off toggle.
So like on the iPad, when you want to switch your Bluetooth, you just click settings and there's all the, you got bigger screen real estate.
Yeah.
But, it's just, I wish that they'd still make it available so that when you click on settings, Bluetooth would be right there as a switch that you switch it on and then expand
They
it.
should make it so if you spell B on the screen that it turns on.
Well, who knows?
Gestures.
I think Palm might have something to say
Bluetooth
about
on,
that.
Bluetooth off.
Sure.
Wax on, wax off. I don't know.
Anything you wish they'd have changed on
I just find moving icons around is a real pain in the bum. So, you start thinking jiggling, you move them around, you move the edge of the screen, you can knock them into the next screen. It's fine for apps. You can kind of do it. With folders, it's almost impossible. The jiggling, you're trying to push it to the edge, and, you need to use your computer to organize your screens.
It's like trying to move a squirming cat or something.
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. Chucking a cat in the bathroom. All right, picture time. Let's move on to picture time. And but before we do that, I do want to mention that we will be covering iPhone 4 coming up in an episode very shortly.
Very shortly.
Okay,
yes.
good. Pictures.
Pictures.
Hooray!
So first up, our Indian ambassador. If you remember him from a way back, we got a photograph from Ashish.
Yes.
And now he's sent us a photograph of, I guess, his group, the Spunkies.
The Spunkies.
Yes, and this is Ashish on the left with Prashant and Payush. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly, guys.
Good.
And missing from this is Sachin.
What's Sachin doing?
Maybe he's taking the picture. I don't know.
Could be.
So, but there you go.
Photoshopped him in.
So thank you very much for sending that in. Send us the picture of your rock groups or your posse or whatever. I don't know if this was like a band or something or just his group of
His
friends.
gang. Roving the streets, correcting people's spelling, perhaps, or something.
Yes,
Who
I'm
knows?
sure that's it.
Cool. All right. That's great.
So also next we got up Tony from Croatia, who is, I think we had another picture of him doing
Is he
this
a
as well.
boxer?
I'm guessing he probably is.
I thought he was mad about something.
He's writing in to correct you on your hatred of all things. Well, you don't hate that.
I don't hate
Apple
things anymore, do I? I'm
You're
it's the new
such an
Andy.
agreeable guy.
Aren't I? I am. I am is.
So there you go. Thank you, Tony, for sending that one in as well.
It's good. Fantastic. All right. Well, you can send your pictures too.
iOS 4 is great except for the Bluetooth thing and that thing that Andy hates about squirming cats at labrats.tv.
A lot to spell there, and no, you can't use your spell check. So try this.
I can use my spell check. It's on there.
I know.
How about feedback at labrats.tv?
There you go.
That might
It's all
work
good.
better.
All right. Well, that's it for Lab Rats. Don't forget you can email us at any time with your comments, requests for shows. check out butterscotch.com for fantastic tutorials. We have a really good iOS 4 tutorial series there too that Sean did recently, and Sean's been doing a lot more what we call live studio tutorials, where he comes in and actually shows you how to do stuff in a new series coming up called How Do I, which will be debuting this summer 2010 on butterscotch.com.
Not 2010?
Not 2010, 2010. There you go. All right, so thanks for tuning in this week and pushing play. It'd be silly for us to be here if you weren't out there. My name's Andy Walker.
I'm Sean Carruthers.
And we'll see you next time.
Are you ready? Try this at home.
Sean, Stan, what are you
The
gonna
light
say?
keeps changing outside, so sometimes the problem is.
I would do it for his face, not for his shirt.
Okay.
His stupid shirt's stupid, and I hate it. It's my least favorite Sean shirt.